I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Michael Waitze. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I am super.
It's a great pleasure to connect with you, Michael. Please tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Bangkok in Thailand.
Oh, sweet. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
I think it's just my ability to connect to people, which is just it's a symptom of empathy, I think.
Ooh, I love that. Ooh, you sound poetic. Dive deeper. Tell us how your sympathy, or how your empathy, my apologies, have actually translated into what you do on your podcast.
Well, I mean, I just think listening is a big part of empathy, right? And I also like to tell stories. And I don't think you can be a great storyteller without being empathetic. You have to understand the other person's situation.
Yeah, so important. So who did you learn that skill from? Empathy.
You know, I was thinking about this. I think it was just it was a necessity. It was learned out of necessity. When I was a kid, we moved around a lot, and the only way to connect to other people was to understand that their situation was different than yours. And that level of empathy made it very easy for me to connect to people no matter where I was. And I also came up with this philosophy that no matter where you moved, there was always somebody there for you. And I think that being empathetic actually made that easier.
Pretty amazing stuff. Well, tell us, please, about the podcast and the conversations you have there.
Yeah, so the theory behind our podcast is that Asia as a whole, and Southeast Asia in particular, is wildly underrepresented globally. I think most people misunderstand about what's going on here. And the idea, again, is to give people a platform to be able to tell their stories, and whether it's in a particular business vertical or whether it's just in general, we want to build a platform where people can tell their stories. So that's the idea, is to build that platform to give people the opportunity to tell their stories, not our story.
Where's the best place for someone to connect with what you do there?
So the general best place for us is asiatechpodcast.com, and it's in the name. It's just spelled exactly as it sounds. It's very straightforward.
Tell us one other thing, Michael, that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
I think it's just help people out. I know that sounds really silly, but that's just a fact. And if you talk to the people, not only that have been on the podcast, but people that are in the background, people that you've never heard of, they'll say that I spend a lot of time trying to help other people.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel awesome. Like really awesome. I think there's no better feeling in the world than being able to give something to somebody else that makes them feel good.
Yeah, I was talking to one guy right before. He's in India, Ashwin, but his podcast wouldn't be live because it didn't work out with the internet.
That's too bad.
But he said something. Yeah, it's cool. He's meeting me in a couple of hours again when he gets to his office. But he was saying something to me that was really amazing. He said that transformation is never old, and having the opportunity to transform lives, I will never get tired of it. It's like,
never.
Wow, I got chills, right?
Never.
Yeah. Do you feel the same way as well?
Well, I mean, for those of us that were born, I like to say, the fact that I was born in the United States as a Caucasian male is just a historical accident. And I was given, besides the fact that we grew up in poverty, we still had every benefit given to us to allow us to come out of poverty. Education was free and available. And, we had no problems really. And that is just lucky. That's just a historical accident. And I've basically, no matter where I've been, I've tried to sort of hand over that accident to everybody else.
Love it.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. So why will you continue, Michael? Why will you continue to do what you're doing?
Well, because the world is a better place if everybody's life is easier, right? So struggle is something that I'm trying to eliminate. One of the benefits of what we do and building a platform is that we allow, like I said, to tell stories. If you can create a story that resonates with other people and they can listen as opposed to talking over somebody else's story, they'll find out actually that helping somebody else live a better life actually makes the world a better place.
Totally agree with it. Again, amazing audience. We are live with Michael Waitze, and again, he is the podcast host of Asia Tech Podcast. Did I say that correct or did I get mixed up? I got that correct, right? Asia Tech Podcast. Yeah.
You got it right. The only thing I will correct is that I do this with a partner, Graham Brown. Graham is amazing, really amazing.
Wonderful.
Couldn't do it without him.
Love it. All right, my friend. Well, Michael, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Michael, what is your earliest childhood memory?
So I have a brother who's 18 months younger than I am, right? I was born in July. He was born in December. And when we were really little kids, we lived in my grandparents' house. And it was the late 60s, right? So the room that the boys slept in was the blue room, and the room that the girls slept in was the pink room. You can't make this stuff up. And my brother, who was very, very young at the time, he must have been about a year old, was placed on top of a dresser, a bureau, in like a little box, and I was lying on the bed, and he rolled over and he fell off the bureau. And I remember seeing it in slow motion, clear as day. I can still see it, actually. I must have been 2.5, 3 years old.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
I don't know, actually. And part of me wonders if I actually remember seeing it, or I just have heard the story so many times that I feel like I remember seeing it. I'm just not sure. But I have this vision in my mind of my brother rolling off the bureau and falling.
That's amazing. That is intriguing. Well, can I offer, before I even ask if I can offer that, do you see any way that connects to who you are now, that memory?
I've never thought about it. I guess the best answer to that is I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
All right. Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
I love the idea of empathy and what goes together in that image, where empathy surrounds truly listening. I had someone on that was talking about there are more senses than the 5 senses that we as humans operate within. And I think being empathetic surrounds awareness of what is occurring, why it's occurring, and what is going to be the effects when it does occur. And to see you at that tender age, just being present, to be aware of what's occurring at that moment, and now to see you as well. You were talking about luck and what that represents, and now sharing luck with others. It's just fascinating. I could go on and on this though. I'll stop.
Don't stop.
I heard Don't Stop Believing in my head right there, the song. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Yeah, so my favorite song was probably Piano Man from Billy Joel. Now, I know that song was released way earlier than 1977 when I was 12 years old, but I can specifically remember hearing it on a car coming up my driveway. So.
You're a pretty amazing guy, Michael.
I don't know about that, but...
All right, my friend, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, so there's one thing I want to say. Like, one of the things I've seen and heard, right, a friend says when you enter into a fighting rounds or you enter into a boxing ring, never hit yourself, right? So like the way I said, you are an amazing guy, Michael, and you said, well, I don't know about that. It's like you punch yourself, right? It's like, please, no, don't ever punch yourself in the ring. All right, Michael, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Michael?
I am ready.
Michael, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
No.
Are you married?
Complicated.
Do you have children?
I have a 16-year-old daughter who is amazing.
Do you believe in God?
No. But that's complicated too.
All right. Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Absolutely.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I never watch television.
Wow. What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, it's probably right around there. Because I spend too much work on the computer, right?
Well, you need to answer that question for yourself.
I probably do 6 or 7 interviews a day. Most of them are done on a computer. If that's considered screen time, it is what it is.
Oh, well. Like when you're doing it, are you consistently looking at the screen or do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do hacks. Like I'm looking at the wall and walking around. My headsets are long in terms of the connection. But yeah, Yeah, definitely screen time. All right, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Michael Waitze, what would you say that is?
No individual day is fatal.
Love it. Michael, this has been a great pleasure, my friend. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I just want to say thank you. I mean, I'm just sitting here with my eyes closed, relaxing, and talking to a new friend. I think it's fabulous.
Love it. Michael Waitze, thank you, my friend, for waiting on this opportunity. Couldn't help but play with that name. Michael Waitze, thank you for being...
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.